Hey friends, Josh here, founder of HR University and certified HR professional. In this video, I'm going to talk about Human Resources Scorecard, so what it is, how it works, and why you need it in your company. But before we dive in, subscribe to our channel so you can stay informed about everything HR. All right, let's first go over the basic definition of the term scorecard. So what is it? Well, a scorecard is a type of report you conduct to calculate the success rate of something. In our case, that something is your organization and business. So let's say you want to boost annual revenue. You can do this by creating a scorecard where you'll keep track of how much you earn, how much you lose, and everything in between. And based on this concept, an HR scorecard is much the same, except it involves assistance of your HR team. And stats show that 49% of all executives make use of some type of scorecard to run their business. As such, this places scorecards in the third spot of the most popular business tool, which is crazy, but it's true. And before we further explain the HR scorecard, let's have a look at what the other statistics in the field suggest. According to reports, 86% of executives talk about strategy for less than an hour per month. As a result, 90% of businesses fail to carry out their strategies successfully. On the other hand, businesses that use a scorecard almost always see an improvement in work efficiency and profits. And here's a cool fact. 50% of the companies listed on the Fortune 500 already have a scorecard that's up and running. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into some of the more specifics of HR scorecards. A business cannot thrive without a steady HR department. And HR is in charge of conducting interviews, keeping track of employee records, and processing payouts. Not just that, but HR also helps guide employees in the right direction and lets them know if their work hasn't been up to the quality that was expected. And that way the HR department can be sure that every employee receives the necessary knowledge to advance in their position. And I'm sure we can all agree that this is a lot of information to deal with every day. Well, fortunately for you, that's where a scorecard comes into play. So if you're a startup that has been attracting, let's say, a lot of attention, and you want to keep an eye on the profits you make, the staff management protocol, and the way the workload is distributed, then a scorecard is a quick and easy way for you to keep track of a lot of this data. And we'll now take a closer look at how to create the perfect scorecard for human resources, one goal at a time. And that way we can take this concept and turn it into something tangible that you can take with you after watching this video. And there's no better place to start than by listing your first goal, your vision for the HR department. As you know, every company has its mission or vision, and the one for your HR department may sound something like this. We want to focus on attracting and retaining only top talent while reducing management costs. And we should celebrate top talent, so our team members and employees and their efforts, by rewarding them with much needed vacation days, team building activities, and other employee benefits and engagement ideas. Now, to support this mission, HR must put in place a cost-effective strategy and come up with what's called a work culture map. The HR team also has to determine the skill set of each department staff and team member of a business. And this is especially beneficial for ventures that are scaling fast. You might be hiring a lot of people, and sometimes you can't look at all the details when doing so. And you might be facing issues in terms of keeping track of the performance of each team member and the needs of each of these employees as well. So the second goal here to help solve this is to closely monitor the success of the people who are working in your company. Your HR department shouldn't only focus on existing employees though. They should also worry about new applicants. An HR team is the one that is responsible for conducting the job interviews and guides individuals through the entire hiring process. Ultimately, it makes sure that everyone ends up happy and satisfied with the work conditions that are offered. And the second set of associates and team members will be your current employees. And in this case, HR serves as someone that your staff can lean on. An HR team has a job of answering questions regarding the employee's salary, their work performance, and their overall happiness and satisfaction in the workplace, and often questions related to diversity and inclusion as well. And knowing what matters to both groups of people will allow your HR department to better support the goals and needs of the company as a whole. And as for your third goal, it is to add financing to the scorecard. If you have an HR department, then you're probably trying to reduce costs as much as possible. However, it sometimes pays off to invest instead. So take into account the regular costs of the department and then create a list. Next, you can add things like lost money due to paid sick leaves or overlapping holiday leaves, and that way you have everything in order. But you may also want to calculate how much you can gain if, let's say, you gave a raise to one motivated employee or someone who you think can really make a difference. And in this case, it may be useful to continue training that employee and then give them a salary raise to motivate them to generate more revenue for the company. It's crucial to be able to communicate the advantages of your actions and how they relate to the financial contribution that they bring to the office. So what are the crucial points you should focus on when creating an HR scorecard? As opposed to a balanced scorecard, an HR scorecard has different business goals. A regular scorecard focuses on innovation, getting new clients, and increasing profits. But an HR scorecard puts emphasis on the work culture and employee happiness. So as an HR rep, you should focus on assisting new hires. You should get involved in the process of discovering talent, creating appropriate job listings, and hiring the right professionals. You can add this to your scorecard as a goal in progress and keep track of your success rate as a result. And the next order of business is to pay attention to the work culture. Are your employees exhausted the moment they clock in? Are they running out the door when their shift ends? These are some points you can manage and record on your scorecard, especially if you want to achieve a high-performing culture. And often you can measure these things just through using an HRIS system that sees when employees are clocking in, when they're clocking out, and just analyzing the data and relating it back to your scorecard. And the third key point is to establish healthy communication within departments. You're here to assist all employees, and you must watch how you interact with them and whether you form some sort of interpersonal relationship. An HR scorecard will do the perfect job of tracking this information for you. However, in the process, you also have to deal with compliance. A good example is coming up with a code of conduct. You can track this in the scorecard and visualize how employees respond to it and how efficient it is. Finally, you should focus on providing training to all departments. As an HR professional, it is your responsibility to assist every employee in improving their work performance and providing them with the right tools in the process. However, it's essential to note their HR department in particular may not have to add all these points to the scorecard. You're coming up with a strategy, which means you should only focus on the major issues within your organization. And when I say focus, I really mean it. If you go outside the scope of your focus, then it's going to take you much longer to get whatever you need done. For example, if your company struggles to improve work efficiency, then by all means add training to the list. But if you're doing fine in that department, you may want to come up with a different focal point. Now let's deep dive into creating a balanced scorecard and what are the essentials you need to take care of. So to bring success to your organization, you must set objectives in line with the overall mission and vision. A balanced scorecard suggests that it's not only financial performance that leads to business growth and business success. Instead, it takes the perspectives of 4 different areas of the organization and monitors their performance based on their individual objectives. And what are these 4 areas? Well, it's customer relationship, finance, education and growth of employees, and internal processes. For your organization to achieve its vision, there are some considerations on how to appear in front of customers. Contrary to sales-oriented business, the marketing-oriented business is focused toward customer satisfaction. A poor performance in this area can lead toward customer churn, and if not taken proper care of, can also result in continuous decline of growth of the company. So to keep things in line with continuous delivery and successful delivery, you need quality performance checks. And then for financial success, the organization is concerned more towards their appearance in front of shareholders and stakeholders. Financial metrics are important to have a look at for the profitability of the business. Next is education and growth area. And organizations are concerned on how they can sustain their ability to change and improve in order to achieve their vision. Higher authorities must know when to invest their funds for personal development and when monitoring is required and where training needs to be initiated in order to make that happen. Organizations also focus on internal business processes to satisfy their customers as well as shareholders and stakeholders. This helps the managers to evaluate the performance of their business and have a bird's eye view whether their products and services are actually serving their customers' needs. And in this area, the organization must consider the activities per function, process alignment, and automation. A lot of things go into building great SOPs. Organizations should also create strategy maps for the HR to connect with the business outcomes. This helps in identifying the role of HR in driving the expected business outcomes. And here's an example of a car manufacturer company. And on the top, you can see the strategic goal of the company. Their goal is to be a leading organization in car manufacturing in Asia. Next is HR's contribution to this goal, and that is to hire technical professionals. They do this by becoming an attractive employer with market competitive salary packages and less time invested in the hiring process so that the candidates do not have to wait for longer periods of time to get a job offer. And with this example, let me explain to you the importance of a scorecard. The HR deliverables that were identified can now be measured, and a track record can be kept for the progress made by the HR in achieving these goals set forward. And as the scorecard clearly shows, their goal is to become a top automotive company in Asia. And some of the factors that go with this is improving employee growth and increasing the salary to meet the market competitive salary, which are leading indicators of success in achieving the business strategy. And due to these clear indicators, the HR department knows that improving these three areas will accumulate towards the success of the overall organization. And this places the HR department in a very strategic role. So we just learned the function of the scorecard. However, if it's your first time making a scorecard, here are some useful tips to guide you. To ensure that you're focusing on the right things, test your HR scorecard strategy with your staff. It's even better if you can include a number of company departments in this process. And discuss the scorecard with every employee individually that's going to be involved and ask them what they believe you got wrong for their particular department. And you can do this with a survey, which makes this process a lot easier. And this may provide you with some interesting feedback to reflect on and keep improving. Also, keep the scorecard simple. You're not creating a mathematical formula, you're creating an HR scorecard. There's no need to go over the top, use fancy language, or add things that don't belong. Again, focus. Line out your goals, add them to the scorecard, and start keeping track. And there we have it. That's a wrap on how HR scorecards can help you with your business and keep it on track. And if you have any questions about anything that we went over, make sure to drop them in the comment section below this video. And with that said, excited to see you on some of our future videos. And if you did like this video, you got something out of it, make sure to like it, subscribe to our channel, and we'll rock and roll from there. Cheers.